Quickly in the party roared back to life. I last choked along with everyone else, genuinely happy by the two people. But since then, his attitude toward me plummeted, extending equally to the disgust he held for our daughter. He never allowed her to call him daddy and strictly forbade me from ever stepping into his study. That study was permeated with the lingering presence of another woman in Rariah, his former fiancée. Years ago, years ago, she left to marry into wealth abroad, chasing freedom and affluence, leaving a wounding Grace and ass heart that never healed. She remained his unforgettable white moonlight. On the evening of our 8th wedding anniversary, Sandra returned. That night, for the first time in 8 years, Grayson got completely drunk. He held our daughter, sobbing uncontrollably. My daughter looked at me. My daughter looked at me. Confused, mommy, why is the uncle crying? I fought back tears and exclaimed softly, because the person she's been waiting for has finally returned. Then I gently said, mommy will take you away from here so we won't be in the way of uncle and the person he loves. Okay. After settling the drunken Grayson, I turned to comfort our sobbing daughter. Alicia's little face was flushed red from crying. Nestled in my arms, she pleaded, mommy, do we really have to go? Suddenly, she looked up, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Uncle was especially nice to me today. He didn't yell at me. He didn't wish me away. He even hugged me. He didn't push me away. He even hugged me. Mommy, does that mean he might like me a little? My heart wrenched violently, a sharp pain sweeping through me. On our wedding day, Grayson had stared at me with icy eyes. Marrying you with icy eyes. Marrying you is a last resort. Don't expect any affection from me. You and the child in your belly are both accidents in my life. After Grayson Ulrich was born, he wouldn't even look at her properly. He locked himself in his study all day, never allowing the child to call him daddy. When our daughter was 1 and first learning to talk, a two-year-old Iron Otter was 1 and first learning to talk. She once daddled toward him with open arms, calling Dada. He shoved her onto the sofa, frowned, around to the sofa, frowned, and slammed the door on his way out. But child was so frightened she cried all night. I spent the whole night comforting her. For the next 6 months, she didn't utter a single word. When she was 5, she won first prize in a children's drawing competition with her piece My Daddy. At Grace and Ness' birthday party, she tremblingly presented the drawing in her trophy. He glanced at the childish scrawl of the word daddy on the paper, turned away indifferently, and left her alone to face the guest whispers. Other children openly taunted her, alone to face the guest whispers. Other children openly taunted her, you don't have a daddy. This painting is fake. The trophy isn't yours either. A 5-year-old child withstand such her. That night, she ran a high fever and was bedridden for a full week. From then on, she learned to call him uncle. The little girl who once searched his face for a father's love had long since vanished after repeated disappointments. I held back tears, pulling her closer. Alicia, uncle is happy because the person he loves is returned. We need to be understanding and not get in their way. The smile on her face slowly faded, the starlight in her eyes dimming bit by bit. Suddenly, as if remembering something, she eagerly showed me the scarf around her neck. Look, mommy, uncle gave me a gift today. If he didn't like me, I'd gift today. Why would he give me a present? She pressed her cheek against the scarf, stroking it tenderly. It was the first gift her father had ever given her. Surely this was proof of his love. Was it? I stared at the scarf, clearly a Easter freebie, and my throat tight. How could I tell her the truth? Tell her this was just a complimentary gift that came with a handbag bought for someone else. Seeing the hope in her eyes, I couldn't bear to shatter it. I could only hold her tight, quietly wiping away my own tears, forcing a smile. Isn't Alicia's favorite thing drawing? How about going to France with mommy to study art? The resources there are better than here. Her small face was full of struggle. She muttered quietly, but Italy is the best place for art. I don't want to go to France. A tearing pain shot through my chest. I bit my lip, suppressing a OB. Alicia, uncle doesn't want us to stay here anymore. Let's leave, okay? She suddenly broke free from my embrace, clutching the scarf tightly. After a long silence, she finally spoke slightly. Can we give uncle one more chance? If he really doesn't like me, then we'll leave forever. Before I could answer, her voice grew faint, saturated with sorrow. I'm all grown up now, but I've ever been able to call him daddy out loud. Tears broke free and streamed down my face. In the end, I nodded gently, okay. I nodded gently, okay. Even though I agreed to give Grayson one last chance, I knew in my heart that if he let our daughter down again, I would take her far away. In fact, I was already prepared to leave. The intensity in his eyes when he looked at Sandra, the coldness with which he treated me 8 years were enough to shatter all illusions. Just as I was organizing Alicia's school enrollment documents, her homeroom teacher approached me, Mrs. Ulrich and Mrs. Ulrich. There's something I'd like to discuss with you. The teacher handed me an application form. The renowned artist Master Annie is accepting apprentices. Alicia is very talented and has a strong chance. Would you be willing to let her try? My heart leapt. Alicia often talked about how Master Annie was her most admired artist. If she could study under him, her future would be bright. I secretly decided to postpone our plans to go abroad. As long as my daughter could fulfill her wish, I was willing to stay in Italy a while longer. Thank you. He'd be very happy to let her try. Do you think she has a good chance? I asked as I filled out the form. My voice a mix of hope and anxiety. Don't worry, the teacher said assuredly. Alicia's talent is obvious to everyone. No one in the whole school can match her. When I told Alicia the news, she was so excited she nearly jumped. Mommy, I've always dreamed of studying under Master Annie. Is this real? Am I dreaming? I smiled and ruffled her hair, trying to keep my tone calmly. I pumped calm curves. You still have to pass the selection competition. Don't get too excited yet. But Alicia was full of confidence. Don't worry. Mommy, no one understands Master Annie's style better than me. We'll definitely pass the test. What's everyone so happy about? Grayson asked offhandedly as he took off his coat after work. Alicia tried hard to contain her smile, and my heart ached. I for stay smile. Alicia has a competition tomorrow. She says she is confident about getting first place. Grayson nodded nodded without further questions, while he looked at our daughter with an uncharacteristically serious gaze. If you get first place, we'll reward you with a skateboard. Really? Alicia covered her mouth in surprise. She had always wanted a skateboard, but was always refused by him. This was the first time Grayson had proactively offered our daughter a reward. He seemed taken aback by her reaction. After a pause, he gently stroked her hair. Of course, I keep my word. Because of this promise, Alicia was especially motivated during the competition. She kept talking about how strict Master Annie was, how excellent his students were. Suddenly, she asked softly, "Mommy, if I become Master Danny's apprentice, will Uncle like me more?" My whole body stiffened, my heart tightening painfully. Perhaps before we left, I should let her experience her father's acknowledgement, even if just once. After the competition ended, Alicia was radiant. "Mommy, I saw Master Danny. He even praised me. Do you think he'll choose me?" I was infected by her joy No matter what, genuinely happy for the two people. No matter what, you'll always be the best in Mommy's eyes. Just as we were waiting for the results, Alicia suddenly stared ahead in shock. "Uncle?" I looked up abruptly. Not far away, Grayson was walking out of the venue with a boy about Alicia's age. Then standing beside him was Sandra Wright, the woman he would always love. Her son had participated in the same competition, the same age group, equally in need of a father's support, but my daughter had never received such care. Before I could recover from my grief, Alicia's teacher approached us with a troubled expression. I grudged it. "Mrs. Ulrich, actually, Master Danny was quite impressed with Alicia, but for some reason, he ultimately chose another child." My heart felt like it had been hit by a sledgehammer. I didn't help but ask desperately, since the master admired Alicia, why choose someone else to admire Alicia? Why choose someone else? The teacher kept glancing in Sandra's direction. After hesitating, she finally said, "Ulrich Group invested $500,000 in Master Danny's gallery. The only condition was to accept Bobby as an apprentice." Ulrich Group, Grayson's company. My heart constricted violently as if gripped by an invisible hand, making it hard to breathe. This was the opportunity Alicia dreamed of, and Grayson, how could he? At that moment, Grayson looked up and saw us, a look of surprise on his face. "What are you doing here?" He walked over, holding the boy's hand, genuine confusion in his eyes. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Sandra stepped forward, linking her arm with his, throwing me a guarded, triumphant glance. Grayson, a police are to cute people. I raced. "Who are they?" Grayson lowered his eyes, avoiding my gazes. "Just friends." That sentence completely crushed my last shred of hope. The boy, completely unaware, looked up at him with a bright smile nowhere. Dad, can I really become Master Danny's apprentice?" But I didn't get first place. Grayson bent down and picked the boy up, a tenderness he had never shown our daughter. "It's okay. I've arranged everything. You will be Master Danny's apprentice." He turned to Sandra, his voice soft. "You've just returned to Italy and aren't settled yet. Having Bobby study under Annie will be better for his future development." Sandra's cheeks flushed, shyly covering her face. "You would definitely be a good father. No wonder Bobby always says he wishes you were his dad." I instinctively looked at Grayson, but he avoided my eyes. Clearly, I lacked injectedly looked at my eyes. He had yet told Sandra the truth. Sandra proudly lifted her chin, still holding Grayson's arm tightly. "Are you here for the competition too? Where's your daughter's father?" I instinctively tightened my grip on Alicia's shin. Just as I was about to speak, my daughter interrupted. "My dad is abroad. She's very busy. I don't want her to abroad. She's very busy. I don't want to disturb him." This sentence made both Grayson and me freeze. I looked down in disbelief at my daughter's straight but composed little face. She was looking at me, but staring straight at Grayson, bravely undignified, lie lifting her chin. Goodbye, Mommy, and I are leaving. The tears I had been holding back finally fell. I quickly turned away, wiping them discreetly. Grayson suddenly grabbed my arm. "Alicia," his face was full of shock, his pupils constricted, as if he had witnessed something incomprehensible. I took the opportunity to pull free. I toned calm and firm. "We're leaving. Goodbye, Mr. Ulrich." This was the final farewell. That day, I took out the passports I had prepared long ago, packed our bags, and booked tickets to France. We never mentioned Grayson again. Alicia even pretended nothing was wrong, talking about emailing Master Annie from France. Before leaving, I placed the signed divorce papers on the table, took our suitcases, and headed for the airport. Just before boarding, my phone vibrated with a message from Grayson. "How did the competition go?" "I got her the skateboard. I took tomorrow off to take you both to the kids' restaurant to celebrate." A sharp pain pierced my heart. When Alicia was little, she always begged him to go to that restaurant, but was always refused. Now she had long stopped expecting it. Seeing me lost in thought reading the message, Alicia didn't ask anything. She just obediently followed me as if she had grown up overnight, no longer holding any illusions about her father's love. After a long silence, I sent my final reply. "That won't be necessary. You should take Sandra and Bobby. I wish you happiness." Almost simultaneously, my phone rang urgently. I didn't answer. I decisively powered it off, took Alicia's shins, and boarded the flight.